All right, let's get started. And we are recording, so that's good. And I'm still sharing my screen. All right. Hi, everyone. Welcome. Thanks so much for joining this webinar. New to SWAAAC, we got your back. My name is Claire Simpson. I'm an occupational therapist by training, and I help Christina Perkins, who is a speech language pathologist, to coordinate the SWAAAC program. And we're going to tell you a little bit more about ourselves and a lot more about SWAAAC as we go here. So we'll jump right in. First things first, we need everybody to sign into this webinar. So I'm going to pop a couple of links in the chat here. First link is to a sign-in form. You can also get to that sign-in form via the QR code on the screen or the bit.ly on the screen or the link in the chat. Please, please, please sign into this webinar. It'll only take you less than a minute. It's just a few questions. We are funded and sponsored by the Colorado Department of Education, and they always like to know who attends our webinars. So this sign-in form is really important and helpful to us in that reporting. I'm going to give just a few more seconds to let everybody get signed in. We'll probably have to pop these links in the chat several times as new folks join. All right, the other important link is the link to our slides. Again, that is in the chat, QR code or bit.ly on the screen. I would recommend going and grabbing that PDF copy of our slides because we are going to be sharing lots of links and resources that you may want to reference later. So take a minute to go grab the slides. We've had a couple new folks join us in the last couple of minutes. I'm going to throw those links in the chat one more time. All right. While people are getting signed in and pulling up the slides, if everyone could tell us what brings you here, what motivated you to sign up for this webinar, what are you most excited to learn about? If you could also tell us who you are, where you're from, what your role is in the chat, that would be super helpful so we can make sure we share the most relevant information with you. Okay, the lending library, we'll be talking lots about the lending library, so I'm glad you're here. From Monument, thank you. What else? SLP and 27J, San Juan Bosies. Hi, Diana. Ooh, we got lots of OTs on here. I love it. Good San Juan Bosies representation. I love it. What else are people excited to learn about today, or what made you sign up for this webinar? How we can help our students be successful. Learn what's available to help my kids. Always trying to learn more info to better support our schools as the SWAAAC coordinator. So everything, that's great. We're going to talk about everything. Learn more about the process and options available to support the kiddos. How to utilize SWAAAC to support the students. Okay, awesome. Yay. Thanks everyone so much for telling us about that. Thanks for being here. I'm going to pass it over to Chris, who's going to start off by telling us about CIDE and the SWAAAC program.
Hi, everybody. I'm Chris. I've been with SWAAAC for almost 20 years. So I'm a testament to how fabulous and wonderful this program is. It's such a pleasure and an honor to work with all of you out in the schools, I find our AT professionals are some of the most energetic, creative, passionate professionals. And so I just want to say thank you for the opportunity to work with everybody. As Claire mentioned, this is a Colorado Department of Education program. So why is the Center for Innovative Design and Engineering at the top of our slide? So I'm just going to run through that real quick here. We are the University of Colorado, Denver. And when you move through the doors of the university, you'll come to the College of Engineering, Design, and Computing. And once you open the doors to the college, there's a Center for Innovative Design and Engineering, and that is where Claire and I work. Once you're through those doors, there's a whole host of other community-related programs and projects. SWAAAC is just one. We are a contract with the Colorado Department of Education. Tech for Tykes is a very similar program, but it is Part C. It's funded by Early Intervention Colorado. We also have Adapt to Impact, which is a program to support childcare and preschool providers. We have an outpatient clinic and a whole host of courses, academics, research projects that are all happening simultaneously. And then there is the Colorado State Tech Act program, which is kind of foundational to everything we do. It's a federal grant that establishes the Center for Innovative Design and Engineering as your state resource center for assistive technology. All things assistive technology, all ages, all disabilities, that kind of all comes together and connects with the State Tech Act program. Here's your central office SWAAAC staff. This is the team that is working centrally to coordinate and plan and do everything in our power to meet your needs, whether it's technology loans or professional development. I know Maureen is on the line. She is our associate director for the center, and she is our liaison with the Colorado Department of Ed. I don't know if you can see her. She's waving there. She's also been with the program for a very, how long, Maureen?
Over 25 years, yeah.
Goodness. She loves it too.
Definitely.
We also have Emily. She's on the line. Real quick wave, Emily. She is our loan library administrator. So if you've borrowed anything or had questions about the library, she is your go-to person. And we also have Jackie McBride. I'm not sure I saw her jump on today or not. She's one of our administrative assistants, but she is dynamite with communications, and you will, I'm sure, be receiving emails from Jackie letting you know about all the different kinds of professional development and resources and activities that we have going on with SWAAAC. So as I mentioned, SWAAAC is a contract with the Colorado Department of Education, and part of that contract rests on essentially three, I like to call them pillars of the program. We obviously host and support a loan library of equipment, which I know a lot of people are interested in. We host all kinds of different professional development, and we offer technical assistance and consultation. And as we move through this webinar, we'll kind of dig a little deeper into each one of those pillars. So what is a SWAAAC team exactly? I would love for any one of you, all of you, to hop on the chat and give us in a short sentence a little description of what you think your district or BOCES SWAAAC team actually is. Who's on that team? What does it look like? What kinds of activities does your SWAAAC team engage in? Do you have a speech pathologist on the SWAAAC team? An OT, a PT, a special educator, a teacher for the visually impaired? What does your SWAAAC team look like? Ah, yes. a SWAAC team helping to find the right tools, multidisciplinary teams coordinating services. Robin Kellogg, she's our IT, AT, OT extraordinaire. We would agree. And one single person, Kate. You're not alone in that situation. Yeah, so I think if you're following along in the chat, what you're seeing is that teams look different all across the state. They're often multidisciplinary teams, but often enough, they're a team of one. Our smaller districts, our rural districts often have really just one person trying to make sure that AT devices and services are delivered. So it looks different all across the state. But for us here at the central office, the thing that we need most is a team coordinator. And so that kind of is your anchor for your SWAAC team. And for us, that's the person who will absolutely for sure have access to the loan library. And we use a SWAAC team agreement that is signed by your designated team coordinator and your special education director in order to establish that relationship between our central office here and your district or BOCES. By signing that agreement, the district, the special education director, then understands that there are policies and procedures around the library, and that when that equipment leaves our office and lands in your hands, that you're taking responsibility for that equipment. Now, for many of our districts, sometimes it's very large districts here in the metro area, or it could potentially be a BOCES with a lot of participating school districts. It makes sense to have more than one person using the library. And for that reason, that SWAAC team agreement offers an opportunity to designate what we call delegates. And so, for example, in a very large school district, the delegates might be people on the SWAAC team who are responsible for a certain area, geographical area of the district. For a BOCES with multiple school districts, a delegate could be a person from a particular school district who's accessing the library. And then SWAAC members, it's up to all of you in the districts and the BOCES to determine who you designate as a SWAAC team member with us here in the central office. What we like to see is SWAAC members in our registry who are people who could benefit potentially from the professional development and the materials and the resources that we're always sending out by email or in social media. If somebody's working with a student or multiple students, let's say in a classroom with lots of AT needs, maybe they're not part of your interdisciplinary team, but they have a lot to gain by being connected with the central office. So that is entirely up to all of you who the SWAAC team members are. So why do we have this contract with Colorado Department of Education? This contract's been in place for, I want to say about 28 years now. So why SWAAC? Why do we continue to renew and update and perpetuate this relationship? Because there's a legal mandate around it. For every student with an IEP, every student, whenever there is an IEP meeting, every single one of them should, their needs for assistive technology should be taken under consideration. And that's kind of a lot of gray area in there. What does that mean? What does that look like? How do we meet the requirements of this mandate? And so that's why you have a SWAAC program. For anybody who's new to assistive technology and education, I must say I'm loving this document. As I said, there's a lot of kind of gray out there in IDEA as it's written. And in January of 2024, OSEP released this document to clarify what AT devices and services should look like in the public schools. It answers a lot of questions that feel a little ambiguous if you're just reading through IDEA and trying to find the requirements there. This is an easy read. It's written for everybody. It's not a lot of legal jargon, and it's only 24 pages long. So if ever you're unsure about something, things are feeling gray, this is a great document to break open. The other thing that we've done here at SWAAC is pull together an advisory committee of, experienced, super knowledgeable folks from across the state to develop an AT consideration guide. And what these great people have done is put together a document that would help guide IEP teams through an effective process of consideration. I will say this is not a CDE document. This has not been vetted by their legal department. This is a Center for Innovative Design and Engineering document. But I wonder if we can click on it real quick, Claire. Is there any chance? It's just 2 pages, and it's this lovely collaboration of process and strategies that work for this advisory committee. It's a really nice document. There's instructions on the 2nd page. And we encourage you, if you like this, if you like parts of it, cut and paste and put it in your own documents. Make it work for you. Oh, and then one other thing that I want to mention is documentation on the IEP. This is another area that a lot of people struggle with. And from the SWAAC website, we have curated online resources to develop foundational knowledge and skills around the delivery of AT devices and services, including AT on the IEP. So if you're kind of just going down this journey of AT and education, I highly recommend, if you do no other online courses, this AT on the IEP webinar or online course. It's not a webinar, it's an online course from Ocali is exceptional. It'll get you up and going in a hurry. Oh, okay. Here's the learning guide. Oh, nope. Okay. All right. Oops, you're muted.
I was just going to pop it in the chat.
Perfect. So here's a moment to stop and reflect and consider any questions or comments that have not popped into the chat yet. Anybody with questions? Have you signed in? Okay. Well, as we continue along today, please feel free to drop questions and comments in that chat. We're going to keep an eye on it and hopefully make this information really work for you. I'm going to turn it over to Claire.
All right, so I'm going to tell you just a bit more about some of the resources that Chris mentioned earlier that we offer in order to support the work that you do to provide assistive technology devices and services in the public schools. Quick question. Are there going to be any roundtable discussion at the AT Expo like there was last year? Not this year. We're not doing the roundtable this year. Instead, we're doing an assistive technology make and take workshop where folks can make their own DIY assistive technologies. But good to know, Kate, it sounds like you liked the roundtables. I'm guessing that's why you're asking. So we will keep that in mind. And we do have a couple of other roundtable type opportunities that we can tell you about. Okay, so one of the most exciting resources that we offer is an assistive technology loan library with over 2,000 items. Anyone who works in any Colorado K12 public school district or BOCES can borrow from our SWAAAC Assistive Technology Loan Library. Devices can be borrowed from the loan library for up to 8 weeks at a time, and they are intended to be used to support student assessment, device trials, and staff's own personal and professional development. In order to borrow from the loan library, you need to know who your district or BOCES team coordinator is. It sounds like many of you do know that already. If you don't, please reach out and we can help you get connected. If you are your district or BOCES team coordinator, or if you are a designated loan library delegate, then you will have direct access to request and borrow items from the loan library. If you're not, then you'll need to contact your team coordinator and they will make requests on your behalf and coordinate with you about getting those items and materials to you. Each district might have a slightly different process for making those requests to the team coordinator. So reach out to them to figure out exactly how that is done in your district. If you want to see what we have in the loan library, you'll visit our online loan library catalog. We often call this or refer to this as Alexandria. That's just the name of the software program that houses the database. But if you hear us talking about Alexandria, we're referring to that online loan library catalog. So you'll go into that Alexandria Loan Library catalog and you can browse all of our equipment there. Again, we have around 2,000 items available for loan from many, many different categories of assistive technology, low tech and no tech, to high tech tools and devices across many different types of assistive technology. We also have books, curricula, assessment tools, and digital resources, and I'll talk a little bit more about each of those as we go here. The website that you need to know, that you may even want to type into your browser and bookmark right now, is SWAAAC with 3 A's, SWAAAC.goalexandria.com. Thank you, Emily. Emily just put that in the chat. You can just click right on that link, bookmark that website. I am pretty sure it will come in handy for you. Instead of reading off this slide, I'm actually going to pop out and go to Alexandria and show you around a little bit. So again, I'm just going to type SWAAAC.goalexandria.com. And it should take me here to this landing page. You should see the SWAAAC logo, and then there's 8 different icons. I'm going to point out the ones that are most important, or that I think will be most important to you in exploring this catalog. So first of all, this first icon here is the search function. If you click on that, you can search for any item or search term. This is most useful when you're coming into the loan library and you know what you're looking for. You're just kind of checking to make sure we have it or to see whether or not it's available. So searching for specific things here, maybe you know you want a jelly bean switch. There it is. There's the jelly bean, a couple different types of jelly bean switches. Couple of tips here. When you're searching for something specific in Alexandria, less is more. So if you put in a search term and it's not pulling up what you think it should, try different variations, try removing some of the words. Check that you're using the same like spelling and formatting as the manufacturer. So for example, if I wanted to request the sound beam, it's this cool piece of equipment that we have, and I type in sound beam as 2 words, it's not going to find it because the manufacturer made it only 1 word. So there we go, there's the sound beam. So just check that we try to follow kind of the spelling and formatting that the manufacturer uses. Back to the landing page, another important function is the explore function. This is more for maybe you don't know exactly what you're looking for, but you just kind of want to check out what we all have, or maybe what we have in specific categories. You could come into AAC and see all of our dynamic display AAC devices, for example. And then finally, I want to show you the assisted search function. So with assisted search, if you click on that, it'll take you to a Google form. This Google form is going to change very soon. We're in the process of simplifying it, making it a little bit easier and quicker for you to fill out. But the idea is if you fill out this Google form with a little bit of information about what you're looking for, Chris and I will get an email and we can help search the loan library and try to find some ideas for tools that might meet your need. This is also nice if maybe you're searching the loan library and you're not finding what you're looking for. Alexandria is in the software itself is really designed for like school book libraries. And so us using it as an assistive technology library database is kind of fitting a square peg into a round hole, in that it doesn't always find exactly what we think it's going to. Sometimes that explore function will throw in some weird things that we might not expect. But Chris and I are pretty familiar with what all we have in the loan library. And so if you're looking for something and you're having a hard time finding it, or maybe we don't have it and you think we should, this is a great tool to use as well to let us know what you'd like to see in the loan library. All right. I just want to point out a few specific resources from the loan library. So our literacy kits are some of our most popular items. These are an incredible resource. Each literacy kit is focused on one book, and the box is packed with props and manipulatives and AAC devices, overlays that all relate to that book. So for example, the photo on the bottom of this screen is our Chicka Chicka Boom Boom literacy kit. You've got lots of alphabet related props and manipulatives, ABC Elmo, a Go Talk that's going to come with some Chicka Chicka Boom Boom overlays, a felt board. And each kit has an activity guide that walks you through that anchor, read, apply approach and gives you tons of activity ideas specifically related to that book to support vocabulary, comprehension, narrative skills, grammar, alternative access. So you get a kit full of materials and you get a guide that teaches you or the teachers or providers that you work with how to use those materials or other materials that you might have around you to support literacy development for students with complex communication needs. The kits themselves are amazing, and I would highly encourage you to borrow one to see for yourself. But you don't even have to check out a kit in order to get access to that activity guide that has all of those great activity ideas in it. The activity guides are all linked in Alexandria. So you could go download them right now and get some of those great literacy ideas. I'll show you where to find those. So again, I'm back on the Alexandria loan library landing page. If I search for a literacy kit, let's say rainbow fish, there's the rainbow fish literacy kit. It's checked out, but I can still download the activity guide, just linked right there. And again, it'll take you through that anchor, read, apply approach, and then some ideas for activities you could do to support vocabulary learning, reading comprehension, so on and so on for 21 pages. So amazing resource there. And then we also have a few literacy kit titles for older students. So this means literacy kits with materials and activity ideas, but the titles are books that are commonly read in middle school and high school curricula. So for example, we have The Giver, Wonder, Charlotte's Web, Hatchet, I Am Malala, a few more, and we're actively working on more literacy kit titles for older students. So check out those as well if you work with middle or high school students. You can also borrow digital resources and digital adapted books from the loan library. Adapted books are PowerPoint or Google Slides versions of many popular books. Mostly they're picture books. We basically take each page of a book and we put it onto a slide. And then if you access those slides from a computer or a tablet, your student could independently navigate the pages using a switch and a switch interface or another alternative access method. Many of our adapted books are narrated, so they could even use their switch to have that book read aloud to them. We have several books in CVI versions that use different color and contrast schemes. And then with all of these books, you could make further modifications depending on the needs of your student. Like you could make the text larger, or you could make the text a different color. You could add sound effects, and so on and so on. If you want to borrow an adapted book, all you have to do is sign an agreement stating that you already own a physical copy of that book. That's copyright law. You have to own the book in order to have an adapted version of it for students with disabilities. Once you agree that you own that book, we send you the PowerPoint or the Google Slides file, and then that's yours to keep. You don't have to return these digital adapted books like you do other items from the loan library. The assisted listening library is a subset of assisted listening devices that are available to borrow by your school district audiologist. These are things like receivers and transmitters, other assisted listening devices that require the specialized knowledge of an audiologist. Borrowing this equipment does require a separate team agreement with that audiologist, and then they can borrow equipment for a semester-long loan period. So if there are any audiologists on today, we definitely encourage you to borrow. Last year, we got a bunch of new SWAAAC and Oticon equipment with guidance from the audiology consultants at CDE. So some exciting new equipment in this library. And then if you're not an audiologist, but maybe you work closely with the audiologist in your district, please make sure that they are aware of this resource and encourage them to get in contact with us so that they can access this loan library. Okay, so we have over 2,000 items in the loan library. We're constantly adding new things. How can you stay up to date with what is available? We have a few different communications that we put out intended to help you keep up with the loan library. So each month we do a spotlight article where we pick one item or maybe a small group of similar items, and then we send you an article about that item by email. We typically include a photo, description of the item, some ideas for implementation, or who might benefit, and then links to that item in Alexandria. Just to give you an idea, this year we've spotlighted the alternate spinner and the Edmark reading program, and next month we'll do a spotlight on the Praetorian Smooth Talker. We also send what we call a hidden gems email each month. These are items that are immediately available for loan. These are those items that when we walk through the loan library and we see it on the shelf, we're like, what is this doing on our shelf? Why isn't this out being used by someone? It's usually 5 to 10 items, and we kind of categorize them. So for example, last month we did books that are immediately available for loan. This month we're doing low-tech AAC devices. So those are our hidden gems emails. A few times per year, we look through everything that we have in the loan library and we decide, is there anything that we can let go of? We get rid of devices that may be a little bit older, that may be outdated, maybe they're no longer available for purchase, so they don't make very good trial devices. Maybe they just aren't circulating and we need that space for something that is going to circulate. But these things might still be useful to you. So maybe you're trying to build up your loan library for your school district, or you have a student who's really benefiting from an older device. We compile everything we're looking to let go of into a Google survey. We send that out by email, and then it's first come, first served. So we're currently running a surplus right now. A lot of that equipment has already been claimed. But if you are a team coordinator, make sure to get on that surplus survey and see if there's anything that you want. If you're not a team coordinator, tap your team coordinators and have them fill out that surplus survey so they can get some additional equipment to keep within the district. Okay, in addition to managing the loan library, we are available to you for what we call technical assistance, really just consultation. Again, you can use that assisted search form in Alexandria to request our help, but you can also just call us, email us anytime. We can set up a Zoom call if we need to chat more. We can act as your sounding board if you need someone to bounce ideas off of. We can help you brainstorm ideas. We can help you explore the loan library or explore beyond the loan library for AT that you might try to meet various needs. We can help you troubleshoot issues with devices, especially if it's one of our devices. We definitely want to help you troubleshoot those issues. Or connect you with someone who can. We can also support your evidence-based practice and research of what are the best practices related to assistive technology devices and services. Being within the university is really nice because we have access to all of the university's databases. And so if you're ever, looking for articles on specific topics or things like that, we can search those databases for or with you. The point is that we love to hear from you, so please get in touch with us if there's any way that we can support your work. We also plan professional development opportunities throughout the year. These are mostly free opportunities and mostly virtual opportunities. So great ways to earn some professional development hours and also to learn about best practices related to the provision of assistive technology devices and services in the school setting. So we do monthly webinars, a fall and a spring training, and a 2-day conference in June every year. And in these next few slides, I'll tell you about some of the upcoming professional development opportunities that we have. So the Colorado Assistive Technology Expo is going to be Friday, September 26th. From 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. This year it is at the Parker Arts, Culture, and Events Center, which is also known as the PACE Center down in Parker. So if you've attended the AT Expo in the past few years, please note the location change. We're trying to move around a little bit to make this more accessible to everyone. This is probably our only fully in-person event for the year. So a really great opportunity to get some of that good in-person interaction that we've all been craving these last few years with so many of these types of events moving to a virtual format. There will be 35 vendors coming, and they will have booths showcasing their devices and services. So you can meet with your local vendor reps, you can try things hands-on. And then, like I mentioned earlier, we're also hosting a special make and take workshop where participants can make DIY assistive technologies. The make and take workshop will be first come, first serve. You'll sign up when you get to the expo. So if you do want to participate in that, I would recommend getting there early. Our upcoming webinars for this semester, we have AAC all day, supporting communication for students with complex needs with Stephanie Ekus. Registration for this webinar closes today. So I'm going to pop that in the chat in case anybody wants to sneak into that. Today is the last day to register for AAC all day. And then that'll be on September 23rd, which I believe is a Tuesday from 3 to 4 p.m. Again, it'll be virtual by Zoom. Register today. On October 22nd, we are doing mounting assistive technology to wheelchairs with Michelle Lang. We don't have a registration for that ready quite yet, but that'll be coming out very soon. And then on November 18th, using technology, accessibility features, and accommodations on Colorado State assessments. That is with Artie Sakdeva from Colorado Department of Education. And again, we'll have a registration ready for that soon. We post information about all of these events, including links for their registration on our SWAAAC Events page. So that's probably the best place to go anytime you need updated information on upcoming professional development opportunities. We also send information about upcoming PD opportunities out by email. If you want to receive those emails, let us know and we can get you on that email list. And then you can get notification for upcoming events as well as our registration links right to your email. Our fall training will take place on Tuesday, December 2nd. That'll be noon to 4 p.m. with Kelly Fauner and Sharon Redmond. And their presentation will be empowering paraprofessionals to support AAC in the classroom. We'll have registration for that soon. So look out for more information by email or on our website. We record and post most of our webinars and trainings to our SWAAAC YouTube channel, typically within a week of the event. There are many great trainings and videos available on our YouTube channel already, but there are a few recorded webinars that might be of particular interest to anyone who is new to SWAAAC. So those are listed on this slide. Getting to know the loan library is a deep dive into how to use the loan library. So that's presented by our loan library administrator, Emily. She covered how to use Alexandria in a bit more depth than I did, how to actually make requests, how to use the courier system in order to receive and send loan library materials. So if you're going to be using the loan library directly, definitely check out that Getting to Know the Loan Library webinar, which is linked on this slide. Chris, a few years ago, presented a whole webinar about our literacy kits. That's also available on our SWAAAC YouTube channel. And then last year, a few of our seasoned SWAAAC team coordinators presented a webinar about documenting assistive technology on the IEP. So if you're looking to learn more about that, it's a really great resource. All right, just checking in again to see if there are any questions and to make sure everybody has signed in. And I will pop the sign-in form in the chat again, just in case anybody has joined since we initially shared that. Any questions? All right, I'll pass it back over to Chris to talk about some other helpful resources that we have.
All right. So Claire kind of touched on all three of those kind of primary pillars, but wait, we have more. We have social media, just like everybody else. I don't know how many people on the call are using their social media to get information about professional development or just to stay current with their fields. But SWAAAC has social media too. We love our social media. We have Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. On Facebook and Instagram, you're likely to find information about loan library items, what's new to the library. You'll also find cool stuff that we find. So if I come across a great article, a human interest story, or an adaptive playground, we might be likely to put together a little social media around that. And then you can always find information about our upcoming events on our social media, professional development that we're hosting. And then sometimes if we find something that looks really interesting to us that is being hosted by another organization, maybe we're like, ooh, I gotta register for that, it looks great. You might see that in our social media as well. If you're a team coordinator, if you're a new team, is anybody on the call who Who's a team coordinator? I think there might be a few. The Instagram handle is SWAAAC Side or Side SWAAAC?
Yeah, I'll find it and put it in the chat. It's one of those.
Who are our team coordinators on today? I know I saw Kate. Anybody else? Yep. Kate. Yay, Stephanie. Anybody else? Okay. Well, twice a year, we do an all-day meeting with our team coordinators. And, if team coordinators are, obliged to something else and they can't attend, sometimes they'll send somebody else on their behalf. It's a great opportunity to hear about program planning. It's a great opportunity for the central office staff to interface with all of you out in the field. As we plan professional development, as we plan for the loan library, it's great for us to have conversations with all of you in order to keep everything relevant and meaningful. It's a great way for us to get feedback from all of you and plan together cooperatively. So the agenda always includes some program highlights, some updates, professional development that's already on the calendar, but then also plan for the future. This is, again, this opportunity for us to talk about what your priorities are, what it is that your team really needs, and for us to do our best to make it happen. There's always group conversations about issues or challenges or something happening that our AT folks are dealing with, problem solving, or innovating around. And so these conversations are challenges, but they're also successes. It's an opportunity to take advantage of the incredible experience and knowledge that's in the room. Because if you're having an issue, chances are somebody else is having an issue too. And it's great for us to network and talk to each other about how we're innovating, being creative, and solving problems. The other thing we do for these team coordinator meetings is invite guest speakers. Usually we have 1 to 3 guest speakers. Oftentimes it's something that swirls around a new product or a new service, or maybe just updates and changes with devices or equipment that we know are kind of prevalent out there in the schools. But it doesn't have to be. It can all be conversations. It can be just interesting information. It changes all the time. And again, this is an opportunity for me to say, we love to hear from you. So anytime you have ideas about issues or topics that you want to make sure that we're talking about and bringing to the larger group, never hesitate to reach out to us, because we really do want to hear from you. And I don't know about all of you, but there are days when I glance at my email and sometimes I make a very conscious decision to not read that today because I don't have time. And sometimes I get back to it and sometimes I don't. So we know all of you are crazy busy too. And once a month, we put together an email that just highlights our top performing social media posts. We put into a simple, quick list the upcoming events on the schedule, a few new items that have hit the loan library, and then any recordings that have been added to our YouTube channel. All in one place, one email. And then we want to talk really quickly about our website, because this is a great resource. I know a lot of people take advantage of the website, but if you're new to SWAAC, I think it's worth taking a quick tour. And so on the homepage of the SWAAC website, there are a few cards here, if you will, of those pages that we find people access most frequently. On the top oh, there's the team let's look at team coordinators. We often get questions from people about who the team coordinator might be for any one particular district. And so here on our website, if you're ever looking for somebody, maybe you bumped into somebody at a professional development event, they had a great idea, they were going to share a resource, but you didn't get their email address. So here is a great place to go looking for people that you might network and collaborate with. Under Contact Us, you can also find your central office SWAAC team. So if you're ever unsure about how to get hold of us, that's a great place. And then if we want to look at the AT Loan Library dropdown, here's a great place to learn about the library, to get some frequently asked questions answered. But then there's also this quick link that will jump you directly to the Alexandria website and catalog. If we look at professional development, you can see we have a page for events, along with all the links to get registered. We also have the SWAAC Foundations. We can click on the expo if you want. Here's more information about that upcoming expo. And you can get information on all the different vendors that are going to be participating. And then here's the SWAAC Foundation's Learning Guide. So if you are new to SWAAC and assistive technology and education, here's where we have compiled vetted sources for building foundational knowledge. Here you can see assistive technology on the IEP. Here are places to pick up online courses, resource documents, great sources of information. Assistive technology assessment, implementation, transition, accessible educational materials. This is all foundational knowledge for an assistive technology service provider. And then we have a resources tab. We've compiled some parent resources if you're looking for ways to share with parents information, basic information on assistive technology. We always update CMAS and COAL information as it becomes available from CDE here. And then there's this evidence-based practice tab. Let's get a quick look at that. If you're looking for ways to support evidence-based practice, as Claire mentioned, we have access to the university library, so we've gone to the trouble of compiling some research around each one of these topics. I wonder if we could click on core vocabulary. Here's what these documents look like. Brief description of what's here, and then a collection of different journal articles, their abstracts and authors. Okay. So bookmark it. You'll want to visit SWAAC.org again in the future. All right, the SWAAC listserv. So have you ever been in this situation where you have a question, but you're not really sure, you want to put it out there, you're not sure if is that a good question? Does everybody know the answer except me? I guarantee you that the answer is no, right? Like if you have that question, there's lots of people that have that question. And here's the good news. There's probably somebody that has the answer. And so what we've done is we've created a SWAAC listserv. This is only open to Colorado assistive technology service providers in the public schools. So it's a safe space. The whole world is not looking at your question. This is one of the most supportive, encouraging, like I said, creative, passionate groups of people you will ever encounter. And so if you have a question about assistive technology devices or services, this is a great way to tap some of the knowledge and expertise in the group. And here's just a few examples of some of the questions that have been recently posted to the listserv. So our rural districts, our rural BOCES, we know that they have some of their own particular challenges being rural. And so once in the fall and once in the spring, we offer an opportunity for those providers to come together, to network, to collaborate, and to talk to each other. It's good for them to have some face-to-face time. So this fall, our Rural Roundtable is scheduled for October 14th from 3 to 4. And then there's going to be one other roundtable office hours type opportunity, December 9th. And this is just kind of open to whatever your heart's desire in terms of conversation and topics. Bring your questions, bring your challenges, bring your stories of success, and let's talk about it. And then a quick shout out for our annual conference. The Center for Innovative Design and Engineering hosts a 2-day conference in June. It's virtual, and the Colorado Department of Education allows us to sponsor 1, 2, maybe 3 nationally recognized speakers, trainers to be a part of that conference. But I will say that very often we get presentation submissions from Colorado service providers, educators, and inevitably they get rave reviews because these are people doing your work and they've, maybe hit on something that's working especially well, a strategy that they're implementing, a piece of technology that's working well, or that they're piloting. Maybe they're engaged in systems change. And I'll tell you, these are the presentations that I think tend to have the most meaningful content. So if you're doing something interesting, innovative out there, or you're having some really nice student outcomes, maybe you're engaged in some systems change, you're changing policies or processes, and you're having some nice outcomes, think about that. Because I guarantee you that there are other people in the state who would love, love, love to hear about it. And here's the thing. If you submit a presentation and we put it on the schedule of sessions, your registration and your co-presenter's registration is free. Free is good. So watch for that call for presentations. We're putting it together right now. And I suspect it will hit your emails probably in the next 2 to 3 weeks, maybe. All right, so we've come to another stopping point to make sure that we are hitting on the topics and the information that you are most desiring. Do you have questions? Do you have comments? Have we missed something that you really want to talk about?
We've come to our final stopping point, actually. So if you do have any remaining questions, please put them in the chat or unmute. Now is the time. And before you hop off, please, please, please make sure that you have signed in.
It could be anything. Oh, it's always such a pleasure spending time with all of you.
Thanks, everyone.
All right. Are we ready to wrap it up, Claire, if there are no further questions or comments?
Yep. I think so. I dropped our emails in the chat if anybody does have questions or comments. So thanks, everyone.